Hi there, my name is Alfie, and if you're new to this channel, then what I'm doing is I'm running 6 ultramarathons in 6 days, or I'm going to try to, in the first week of September via the Welsh Mountains. It's the entire length of Wales, and it's really, really hard. I don't know, obviously you can, and you probably have noticed that I'm sat here in sunglasses, and I don't know if you can see in the reflection of the sunglasses, it's because there's glare coming off the wall on the other side, and I was trying to focus in on the lens of the camera to start with, and I kept on squinting. So I'm sat here in sunglasses. It's not because I think I'm cool, even though I do think I'm really cool. And I've also sat in my headphones like a DJ, and that's so I can hear what I'm saying. Other than that, it's a totally unprofessional operation, and yeah, I'm just sat here in my loft, basically, in front of my PC. Right, so I wanted to do more YouTube, more videos about my Dragon's Back training journey. I've done a few reels, I've done one video to start with, but basically life got in the way. I've had struggles with work, I've moved house, I've been actually just doing the training, which is time consuming in itself. Doing YouTube is hard. My PC broke and that had power to edit videos, and the next one doesn't. And I broke up with my girlfriend, which, was really time consuming. All that arguing just takes up so much time. Anyway, so this is a bit of like an update really before the big thing. The big thing is in 2 weeks time, just less than 2 weeks, 13 days as of the time of recording. So that's worrying. What's been going on? I've been doing lots of running, basically. Lots of running up mountains, but probably in the end, not enough running. That's the spoiler alert. That probably I haven't done enough. By the way, I'm going to try to do all this in one take, no edits. So there's going to be a few ums in there, and maybe if I mess up, I might just carry on. So sorry about that. So, okay, yeah, what's been going on? Racing. I've had a whole summer of racing. My first proper, I guess, racing season. Prior to this year, I've done races. I've done ultramarathon, done marathon, done 10K, done half marathon, done them all, but not in a structured way. Not in okay, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this one, and not with really anything in mind. Obviously, I've had time targets in mind, but I've never really had a whole season of training. And obviously these are B races. I've never really had that idea in my head before. All races in the past have been A races. They've all been the big important one. But these races, they've almost been training runs for the big one, which is 380 kilometers, 6 days, 15,000 meters of elevation in Wales in the first week of September. So yeah, the race season has been different. I haven't been absolutely killing myself on every single race. I've been, yeah, managing things and doing it for experience and testing out race strategies, i.e. not going out too fast. I've actually discovered if you don't go out too fast, it's better. Who knew? Turns out everyone knew and I wasn't listening. So yeah, it started in May, really. The main bulk of the training, obviously I was still running beforehand, still doing lots of general training, but my season started in May. On the 1st of May, I ran 50 miles on the 1st of May, and I did it for charity. I do it for charity every year. I run 50 miles in May, but obviously no one's going to be very impressed if I run 50 miles in May. I do that anyway. I do 50 miles a month anyway. No one's going to give me any money. So I did it all on the 1st of May. There's a bit of a leaderboard, not that it's a competition, but it's a bit of a leaderboard, and I won. So 50 miles in May. 50 miles was at that time the furthest I've ever run in one day, and I can tell you I was knackered. So tired. I hit the wall at about just after the marathon points. Then I had another 38k, 36k probably of just fighting my way through it. I nearly threw up in my friend's kitchen where I stopped in for a coffee. Yeah, it was pain. It was real pain. I really suffered for it. And it was a bit of a mess up with my scheduling. I was supposed to do that on the 1st of May and then run an ultramarathon in Pen y Fan, which is in South Wales, on the 6th of May. But it turns out that race wasn't on the 6th of May, it was on the 4th. So between the 1st and the 4th, it sounds like 3 days, but actually it's only 2, because you finish the 50 miler in the evening of the 1st and you start the ultramarathon on the morning of the 4th. So I only had 2 days recovery. actually probably quite good. It's good training. Don't really get a chance to recover, and then you're straight into another ultra marathon. That's what I'm training for. Wasn't the end of the world, but obviously it did kind of knacker my race performance on the one on the 4th. So that was a 55-ish, maybe a little bit longer. I can't remember. 55-ish K, so 34 miles run in the Brecon Beacons up and down Pen y Fan, which is the tallest mountain in South Wales. I wouldn't say it's a very tall mountain or even really a particularly challenging one compared to some of the stuff in North Wales. So, yeah. You basically do 3 ascents. You go nearly all the way up Pen y Fan twice, and then the 3rd time you actually do go up. I did okay. I finished in the top 3rd, which, given my legs were pretty much gone, I was pretty happy with it. And I didn't collapse in the back half. I collapsed a little bit at the end, and I lost a couple of places going down the mountain for the last time. But I didn't really fall apart. So I was really pleased, and I got to the end of it, and I did some more training the next day as well. So I managed to do some back-to-back days. I worked really, really hard. And yeah, it was the first sort of sign that maybe I can do things like this, and teaching my body to bounce back. So I'd say that all went really well, even though it really hurt. And I had, I guess then, just over a month between that and my next race. Next race was a new challenge for me. It was a new distance for me. I said 50 miles was the furthest I've ever ran. 50 miles is about 80 kilometers, just over. So I then undertook a 100-kilometer race, which was in the Cotswolds, which is roughly where I live. I live in the Cotswolds. So it's mostly on the Cotswold Way, which is a really long section of trail. It's hilly, but it's not like mountainous. It's rolling hills. In terms of the elevation for that race, I think there was 2,000 meters of elevation over the course of 100k. So it's quite a flat course, all things considered. But obviously 100k is a long way to run, and it was a hot day. That day, I mostly got it right. To be fair, I didn't go out too fast. I mostly kept my energy levels going. I probably hit the wall at maybe 70k for about 10k. I was really struggling. I was walking because I was feeling sick and energy levels were low. I just couldn't get going. But then I picked up again after the next aid station, and really I'd say that was a really good race. I finished 14th, maybe 15th, top 15 out of like 430 people. But obviously some of them were just walking the whole way. But still, really, really pleased. It was a hot day. Lots of people dropped out. Lots of people really struggled, and really I finished strong. I did my last 5k in like 30 minutes or something, which obviously is not a fast 5k, but it's pretty fast when you've just ran 95. So that race went really, really well. And again, that's confidence. Like, none of the days on the Dragon's Back, which is the race I'm doing, I probably forgot to say that. It'll be in the title. Don't worry about it. None of the days in the Dragon's Back are that long, but obviously they have more elevation. The terrain is more challenging, and there's not the same level of support throughout. But yeah, it gave me confidence that I can do those big days. I can do those long distances. It was a 14-hour run, which is about the time that you'll be spending out there on the Dragon's Back. So that, yeah, it got me going. Oh, I was in so much pain afterwards. My girlfriend had to help me out the car, like carry me inside. I was, a wrecked man after that. But then you wake up in the morning and actually everything sort of feels good. I think like you're teaching your body to recover, and that's really, really handy. I then had a race up in Snowdonia, Erie, is that how you pronounce it? 57k. It was actually the same as my first ever one, so I had a bit of a benchmark. I knew the course, and I knew how I got on last time. Last time I finished middle of the pack, just more front of the middle of the pack. This time I finished, I think, 44th out of like 200. So yeah, pushing towards that top quarter. But I had a lot left in the tank. I wasn't trying too hard. Like, I was doing long days before and after. Because I was practicing on the route for the Dragon's Back. I was doing recce's. So it wasn't like the race wasn't the really important part. I was doing other parts of the course, and yeah, it was really useful, really good race. And I've managed, and I benchmarked that. Obviously, I've got better in the meantime. Remember last time coming down the mountain, I was really, really struggling, like I was dead on my feet. But this time I ran all the way down the mountain and I felt good, and I finished strong again. And then finally I had a race called City to Surf. which is a new race where you start on Barmouth Beach and you go up Cadair Idris and then you come back down. That was quite a challenging race, actually. It was really flat to begin with, and then really steep going up Cadair Idris, and then quite a long like way down. So a lot of people gunned it on the flat bit at the start, thinking like 10k flat at the start, like let's get some pace going. But I kept it all in zone two, kept it nice and slow, jogged it. And then when the hill came, I wasn't too tired. Say the hill, it's a mountain, and yeah, I was able to use my poles and sort of get past people. And then on the way down, I still had a fair bit left in the tank to go down, and yeah, like really got the pace up and um, burned a lot of people on the way down. And in that race, I think I finished 24th out of like 220 finishes. That is 220 finishes. Obviously, a few more at the start who didn't make it. So yeah, like pushing towards that top 10%. And again, I had stuff left in the tank. I did 25k the day before and 25k the day after. So getting used to those consecutive days, getting out on the route. Yeah, so like really successful race season. Like I was never going to win anything, but I've improved throughout the year. My race strategies have got better. I've been a bit more calm. I'm not finishing races absolutely dead. Yeah, like just got so much better, and like it teaches you. Like every time you do one, you learn more, and every time you get better. Even if your fitness doesn't necessarily improve, your strategy improves. You get better at fueling. You get better at working how to get by people. You get better at not worrying when you get overtaken. If someone overtakes you 10k in, it's like, well, it doesn't matter because I can see you again in 3 hours time. It really doesn't matter. Interspersed with all that, I've been to Wales like 1,000 times. So in January, I got stuck up in the mountains, Carnet Llewellyn. Ran from Conwy Castle down to the Ogwen Valley. Didn't run at all actually because it was one of the worst storms of the year. It was like 90-mile-an-hour winds. I got stuck up there in the dark. My stepdad called Mountain Rescue because I couldn't use my phone to update them. That's where I was because it was too wet and I was too cold and my battery was dying. Mountain Rescue didn't come out, thank God. I managed to actually get in contact with them in the end and say, look, I'm okay. But that was a really stressful day, and it was my first, not experience of the Welsh Mountains, but my first experience of things going really wrong on the Welsh Mountains. And I was fine. I was calm. It's easier when you're actually out there other than when you're the person on the ground. Obviously, my stepdad was there, like waiting to meet me, and he is like doing his nut because I haven't updated him in hours. But being the one who was up there, even though I was getting battered by wind, I couldn't hear myself think, couldn't see, like it was okay. And then I went up there again to try to do that because it's part of the Dragon's Back course that I was doing. I was going to try and do it again, and it was all snow and ice. You know, like it then like instead of it being a trail run, it became a mountaineering exercise. I also had crampons. I've got a bit of mountain like winter gear, but nothing that's going to really speed me up. Nothing that you can run in. So I've done bits of that, like that first day on the course, but it's really difficult. But I've probably been to Wales 6 times this year. I've done Crib Goch, which I've done it before, but scary. It is scary. People say, "Oh, it's not scary," but like, okay, if you're not scared, then that's fine. But I was scared. Like I did a skydive, and I was scared of that too. People aren't scared of those, but of course it's scary. You're high up, and you can die if it goes wrong. So it's perfectly okay to be scared. I've done a fair bit of scrambling, which is part of the race. I'm not very good at it, but the weather every single time I've been really has been terrible. And I know it rains in Wales. I know that the weather in Wales isn't good, but oh my God, it's been terrible. It's been terrible throughout the whole country, to be fair. But when you go into mountains, obviously that gets worse. It gets colder. It gets wetter. Things never dry out, and the conditions have been awful. So I've chucked a load of money at Airbnb this year, chucked a load of money at gear, loads and loads of long hours in the car going up to Wales, loads of hours just stood on my own on top of Welsh mountains, being tired, eating old malt loaf, loads and loads of that. It's been a real experience, but like so nice to explore. Like Wales is an absolutely beautiful country, and I always knew it was. Like I've been there before and like it's it, but yeah, so it's something about being out there on your own, like standing on top of a mountain and just like looking as far as the eye can see. You can't see another person, and just these amazing mountains. It is incredible. particularly some of the other mountains, not like Snowdon or Pen y Fan, which are really popular. Some of the other mountains elsewhere, where you literally are on your own, you don't see another person all day. It's absolutely stunning. So, oh yeah, and in amongst that, I live at the bottom of a hill. I'm pointing behind me because the hill is actually behind me. You probably can't see because of the glare, but on a clear day, you'd be able to see the hill through that window. It's like a 300-meter hill, and I just run up there all the time, run up and down there. It's got a couple of like rocky sections that you can scramble up, and I'm hoping that that's going to stand me in good stead. But yeah, I've been averaging probably like 100 kilometers a week. That's including the races. So on some down weeks, I'll be doing like 50, but on some up weeks, I'll be doing like 150. So I've been averaging 100 kilometers a week, but how can you prepare for 380 kilometers? You can't be running 250-kilometer weeks. I just don't have time. Just don't have time to do that. So I've been trying to walk everywhere as well, just spend as much time on my feet as possible. I play cricket every weekend. That's a lot of time on your feet. It's not really about being fast on the Dragon's Back, although I'm going to get to that in a minute. It kind of also is. My screen's just shut off. That's going to have to get edited out, probably. My computer's just gone into... Are we still recording? Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, sorry, my computer went to sleep mode. Yeah, I just don't have time to be training for 250 kilometers a week. The pace, being fast always helps, particularly in races with cut-offs. Being fast always helps with anything. You don't want to be out there for as long. If you're out there for not as long, then you've got more time to recover. Obviously, that's the case. But yeah, you can't run 250 kilometers a week and be fast throughout that. So I just haven't been able to do it. Been averaging about 100. I'm just hoping that's going to carry me through. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to dig deep for the extra kilometers. Obviously, the kilometers are a lower intensity in the Dragon's Back, but you're still going to be fast. And the word fast has a broad meaning. So we'll see. So what am I looking forward to in the race? I'm looking forward to the challenge. That's the whole point. Whether or not I can do the challenge is a different issue. I'm looking forward to getting it done. This whole thing has taken over my life a little bit. I've had a lot going on elsewhere in my life, and I've been unable to deal with those things properly because I've just been training all the time. But then also on the flip side, my training has suffered because I've been doing the other things. It's a bit of a nightmare, but that's just life. I'm not a pro athlete. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting it done. Looking forward to the challenge. Looking forward to meeting some cool people. Looking forward to knowing how I'm going to get on. I've spent this year in a state of doubt. I dream about it. People ask me about it. I actually have no idea how I'm going to get on. So I've just been doubting, am I doing enough? Am I doing too much? Is it going to be okay? Is it going to be embarrassing? Yeah, there's loads and loads and loads to think about. What am I not looking forward to? I'm not looking forward to the pain, although I sort of am. The pain's going to happen, and you're going to look back on the pain with fondness. Not looking forward to living in a campsite for 6 days without a shower. I'm not looking forward to the possibility of failure, but that's just inevitable. And I know I just said I was, but I'm also not looking forward to it being over and there being nothing to gear my life towards. I know that's contradictory to what I just said, but it's true. What have been the challenges? The main challenge for me has been the weather. The weather in North Wales has been terrible. A lot of the downhills have been really, really wet and boggy, and you can't run down them. So when I've been trying to run at what I consider to be a race pace, it hasn't worked. I've been slipping down the hills. I've been falling over. I've been wading through water. Really, really unpleasant. But I know that's part of the deal. But I'm praying for hot weather. I know hot weather presents challenges, but I'm fit and I can deal with hot weather. I can drink water. I can push through it, and I'll be moving all the time. When it's cold and wet, you're not moving all the time. You're slippery. You can't trust any of the rocks. There's a bigger chance of hurting yourself. I'm tall, so I don't bounce down mountains very well. You see these little nuggets of people, little 5'7" people. they're so good at like navigating their way down like steep descents, even when they're wet. I'm not good at it. I'm good at going uphill and I'm good at running on the flat. I know downhill is part of the race. I'm not like diminishing it as a skill. In fact, it's a skill I really, really wish I had, but I'm not good at it. So, and I can't help that I'm not good at it. I've practiced, but and I got better, but I'm still not good. It's still not a strength of mine. But it's so much better in the dry. It's so much better in the dry. In the wet, when it's wet and slippery, I am going over, I am hurting myself, I am getting slowed down. So I'm begging for it to be hot. I'm begging for it to be hot. Dry out that ground, dry out those downhills. Okay, there's gonna be a couple of little bogs, but no wading through marshes. It saps the energy out your legs, it saps everything. Please, 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 please be hot. That's all I'm thinking. Other challenges have been money. I've chucked probably about 10 grand at this race, which is a lot of money. I'm willing to part with it because if I succeed, it'd be like a lifetime achievement for me. But it's been expensive. Gear, so much gear. I've got so much gear for this race, and you need so much gear. So much gear is mandatory, but you have to do it. And a lot of the gear will come in useful afterwards, even if I decide to give this up. Like things like warm clothing and little waterproofs and head torches and stuff. It's all useful stuff in the end. But oh my God, have I spent a lot of money on gear and it's just cluttering my house. What are my chances in the race? No idea. I have no idea what my chances are. I'd imagine that my chances are not good. And I unfortunately think that it's the first 2 days that will knock me out. It's the first 2 days, 2.5 days, where the terrain is really bad. And if it's wet, I'm going to really, really struggle to get the pace up to meet the cutoffs. And it sounds crazy because the cutoffs are 16 hours a day. How can you not like cover that distance in 16 hours a day? I thought like before trying it, before going out into those mountains, off path, off road, into that terrain, I thought that it'd just be a case of slugging it out. And as long as you maintain a bit of a decent pace, you'll be all right. But I've been at times going as fast as I can and been doing less than 3 kilometers an hour. So I actually think the pace is going to be a real challenge for me in those first few days. And it's a shame because I do think that I could do the distance. I don't think the distance is what's going to kill me. I don't think I'm going to drop out because my body's too tired. I think I'm probably going to miss a cutoff, and I think I'm going to miss a cutoff in the first 2 days. However, if it's dry, which it hasn't been, maybe things will fall into place for me a little bit. The long range weather forecast, which is always a load of rubbish, is suggesting that it's going to be warm, and I'm holding out on that. And August has actually been quite a nice month. So hopefully a lot of the bogs have dried out. What are my chances? If I were to put a percentage on it, I'd say my chances are about that of the race. So the race chances are 500 entries, about 100 finishes. You've got about a 20% chance of finishing. I think I have about a 20% chance of finishing too. I'd say that I'm at about the odds. I've done the training, but I'm not an elite runner. There are things that can hold me back, but I'm not definitely out of it. Something's going to go wrong. I just hope it doesn't go so wrong that I have to drop out. And I really hope it's not in the first 2 days. I really hope I at least get the experience. If I drop out on day 3, or yeah, obviously 4 or 5 or 6, but like I'd like to make day 3. But you never know. I could miss the first cut off. Could be out by lunchtime on day 1. So we shall see. What if I fail? I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'll try again or if I'll change my strategy a little bit and try and like build up to it and do it in a few years' time, or if it would just be enough for me and I'll be like, oh, look, I can't do this. I'm not good enough. I'm not going to do this ever again. And I'm so demotivated. We shall see. I actually don't know how I feel about it. What if I succeed? Again, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if it'll be a case of like, oh, I want to do more of this, or it'll be like, okay, well, I've achieved that now and let's move on to the next thing. In terms of failure, like I'm okay with it if I have. Like worst case scenario, I've got myself into the best shape of my life. I used to be a real fat guy, like big round face, yeah, big shoulders, yeah, huge belly. I know it doesn't look like that to look at me, but I did. I used to be a real big guy. So worst case scenario, I've got myself to the best shape of my life. I feel amazing. I'm really healthy. I'm really enjoying it. So that's the worst thing that can happen is that I fail and I've just coincidentally or incidentally, really improved my life and health. So that's not the end of the world. Look, that's it, I think. I've managed to do this in 25 minutes, which is not too bad. Hope you enjoyed that. If you're still here, thank you very much. And subscribe to the channel. I think I've got like 90 subscribers or something, probably more than that for the race. And yeah, I will be updating about the actual race as we go. And yeah, keep your fingers crossed for me. I've tried really hard. I've done my best, and I can't do any more than that. So I'll see you in 2 weeks.